There we go. Great, great. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar. Yeah, there you go. Put it in the chat where you are zooming in from. Rashik and Justna Joshi from Torrance, California. Great. Dilipji, a regular from Maryland. Vikramji from Charleston, West Virginia. Namaste Atulji. Dr. Shah. Biniji from Toronto. Great to have you on. Dharma from Virginia. Dharma everywhere. Namaste Neelamji from Los Angeles. Pratibhaji from Toronto. Kamalji from Connecticut. Awesome. Wonderful to have everyone on for today's webinar on the path to happiness, embracing self-knowledge with Swamini Brahma Prajnananda Saraswati. And so a brief background on the webinar and the course that Swaminiji will be teaching, and then I'll give her an introduction. And in the meantime, you can continue to put in the chat where you are zooming in from. I'm in New York, Queens, New York today. So today's topic on the path to happiness and embracing self-knowledge. And despite the universal human strive and drive and trying to get to happiness, a lot of our education, maybe all of our education and learning have not taught us how to be happy. In fact, the predominant message that society gives us is that you are not enough. And in the Vedic tradition, on the other hand, teaches us that the key to happiness is to keep Dharma as the anchor point for the pursuit of wealth and pleasure. Additionally, Vedanta reveals that the sense of inadequacy we experience is not a real problem, but a spiritual problem rooted in the ignorance of the true one self. And the solution is what we're going to get into. The solution is self-knowledge of the unchanging self, which has no deficiencies. It doesn't lack anything. And so in this webinar, we're going to have Swaminiji go into key verses. I don't know if we're going to get into a lot of verses of the Tattva Bodha, one of the fundamental works on Vedanta. Maybe she'll discuss a few other texts, but really inquire how we describe and define ourselves in that light of the Vedantic tradition. So thank you everyone for joining today. If you haven't put in the chat, please do. Swaminiji, if you want to give us a quick hello, and then I'll give you an introduction. Where are you zooming in from today?
Namaste, everyone. I'm in Mumbai.
Great, great. And then we got Sanjay Ji from Pennsylvania. We got Tim from the United Kingdom. We got Roseanne Kanai from Washington. Sophia from Brazil. Sampath Kumar from Chennai, India. We got Marco from the Philippines, a really global audience today to hear from Swaminiji. Lomas Ji from Houston, Texas. So Swamini Brahma Prajnananda Saraswati is actually a PhD holder, a traditional teacher and a contemporary teacher of Advaita Vedanta. She's also a Hindu monk. She's completed a 3.5-year course in Vedanta and Sanskrit back in 2013 at the Arsha Vidya Gurukulam in Coimbatore under the tutelage of Pujya Swami Dayananda Saraswati Ji. And before that, she studied the Vedanta with Swami Brahma Vidyananda in Mumbai for about 12 years. And she was also balancing work commitments, which had her helping street children. And it's just amazing what she has done through her career and feeding and helping and supporting with her as a qualified psychologist, right? And so she teaches kind of from the flow of self-enhancement, mastery, meaning, connection, all the way to self-discovery. She has a weekly podcast. I think you're still hosting that, right? The Vedanta, the River of Wisdom. So we're going to have you join the HUA podcast in one of these upcoming weeks called Radio Dharma. We'll do a little joint project there. And she's doing so much across so many different streams. She actually co-founded the Vedic Wisdom Festival back in 2018 in Mumbai. And well, I could keep on going, and I won't, because I'm going to hand it to Swaminiji to give us some centering and some context. And thank you, Swaminiji, for being so wonderful and joining us today, and everyone else from around the world. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ankur. It's always a delight to be introduced by you, and Your enthusiasm, your delight is so contagious. And I think it just spreads through the screen. So that's wonderful. So we'll start with a prayer. We will invoke the grace of the gurus, without whom we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be recipients of this knowledge. And the prayer I'm going to say is, it really means that I do my namaskar to my guru, who had a guru and who had a guru, with Adi Shankaracharya being a notable guru. And then it leads all the way to Shiva. And so we recognize that when we invoke grace, we are open and receptive to whatever we need at this phase in our life. And we drop our resistance. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So welcome all to this webinar. It's a new course that I'm offering, and it's going to be a traditional Vedanta course. I will explain what that means. But just to kind of get warmed up, I want to invite all of y'all to complete the sentence that I will say. The sentence I'm going to say is incomplete, and you will complete it with the first thought that comes to your mind. Okay, whatever that is, please put it in the chat box. There are no right or wrong answers to this. So immediately, whatever comes to mind, just complete the sentence and put it there. So so I'm going to just say what the statement is. I will be happy when ... Okay. Okay, let's hear all responses. So I will be happy when now, when I am myself. I will be happy when I'm contented, when I'm at peace, when society is dharmic. Okay, what else? When I'm healthy. Okay. So yeah, so if I know more Sanskrit, Sophia, if I know more Sanskrit, I might be happy. I will be happy when I am breathing, with breathing. Okay, what else? Okay, that's all the responses. Yeah, when my children are happy, healthy, when there is no stress. Okay, which is only going to be the cemetery actually. When I'm in silence, when the world is at peace. Okay, very lofty goals, huh? Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much for your responses. When there is equanimity. Okay, excellent. Thank you. So now what we see, and this is a very interesting thing, depending on whatever age and stage we are in life, we don't give up this universal drive that I want to be happy at all times, in all places, in all situations, right? And across cultures, we can wish people happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy 1 month anniversary, happy, what else? Happy something. I wish you all happiness. And nobody is going to turn around, catch your collar and say, no, don't wish me that. I just have enough of it. I have enough happiness. No one says that. And the reason we don't say it is because when we are happy, we are at home. And We don't want anything to be different. We also find that we are loving. Love and happiness go very hand in hand. So in the course, of course, I will talk about bhakti, but you can't have bhakti for Bhagwan if you have not loved even one single person in your life. Therefore, romantic love is very good for bhakti, because you know what it means to love another person, you know. So no worries about Sanskrit, okay? I'm not going to be using too much Sanskrit in this webinar. And even when I do during the course, I will always explain it. So what I want to highlight for all of us is that I will be happy when whatever I fill up that with is a condition I place on myself, right? That condition may or may not be attainable. So when the world is at peace, then I am doomed to never be happy. Okay. What I'm really saying is, if I will be happy when a condition is reached, whatever that condition is, my children are happy, my children get into university, when my health is okay, when my children are around, what I'm really saying is, I will not allow myself to be happy when all other conditions are happening. Okay. So we're going to be doing a deep dive into what the nature of happiness is, but suffice it to say that you cannot reconcile with the idea that, I will make do with little happiness. Cannot. We can reconcile, we can compromise, we can adjust with a lot in life. But if somebody says you can't be happy ever again, that's not okay for you. Because the limitless you, which we are going to discover through the course, struggles with a limited form. Because the limitless is as though, because the limitless has got a limited body suit made of flesh and bones and fat and tissues and blood and so on, and is trying to express itself, and then struggling against limitation. So we can't handle that. And so in the Vedic tradition, we recognize what the nature of happiness is, and that it has got nothing to do with external and internal. It is actually your swarupa meaning your intrinsic nature. We call it ananda. So what that is, etc., we will see. Now, the need to be happy, how can I be happy? Is it a question or is it a quest? If it is a quest, there is a commitment to it. So just like my Parama Guru, Swami Chinmayananji, so before he became a Swami, he was Balakrishna Menon. And yeah, I did say Swarupa, Sophia, and I would encourage you to relax about the Sanskrit bit, okay? You're going to understand everything, so no worries. So we are talking about Swami Chinmayananji, and he was quite a rebel in his early years. I think he continued to be a rebel. You cannot be a monk if you are not a rebel, okay? So in any case, he constantly questioned the reasoning and logic behind a lot of religious practices. And he doubted the very existence of God. Since he had been exposed to many saints, masters in his childhood, he had trained as a journalist, and he started to think, because he was going through that skeptical phase which we all go through. And so he said, you know what, I'm going to, okay, thank you for sharing. And I'm glad that you switched on the transcription. Okay, wonderful. So Swami Chinmayananji, he thought that he will go to expose the different saints in Rishikesh because he thought all of them are frauds. And he thought that he will do a piece on how they are keeping up the bluff amongst the masses. So we are talking about 1950s. He goes to Rishikesh, place at the foothills of the Himalayas where Gangaji is flowing. And he meets Swami Shivananda. And when he meets him, he says, yeah, I think I'll have this figured out. In 2 days, I will expose this fraud and I'll do my piece and head back to Delhi. But he is so struck by the lifestyle of Swami Shivananda, whose entire day is spent very happily in service, in seva, doing guided meditations, greeting visitors. Swami Shivananda was also a medical doctor, administering the hospital, writing articles, books, giving discourses, and conducting classes. So it just so happened that Balakrishna Menon stayed there for a full 1 month. And then Swami Shivananda asked him, because, he would shadow Swami Shivananda everywhere he went, with the thing that, okay, I'm doing an article on you, and would obviously ask a lot of questions. And so Swami Shivananda asked him, young man, you ask many questions, but when will your questions turn into a quest? It's a very important line and indicating the beginning of a committed pursuit. So a quest involves commitment. It's not a casual affair. So you are willing to do whatever it takes, if indeed you have a commitment to something, whatever that something is. Now, in the United States Declaration of Independence, yes, there is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay. So then we'll say, oh, it's the government's job to ensure this. But can happiness be a quest for me? Which means that I will not stop until I discover that I am Ananda. Because that is what the Vedic tradition reveals about you. So it's holding a mirror to you and saying that you are Ananda, you are limitless, you have no lack. Then how is it that the Vedic tradition says this about me, that even my most dearest partner has not said, nor has my kid told me this? They have said, wonderful things. You are Indra, you are Chandra, you are wonderful, all that they have said, but they have not said you are the limitless. So what is this? We have to find out. Now, when we look at all our pursuits, Vedic pursuits, general pursuits in life, the Vedas classify it into 4. I'm guessing most of y'all are familiar with this, but I will just say it for those who are not. So at every age and stage, we want to have enough for our health and well-being, finances, wealth, property, all of that will come under Artha. It's a valid pursuit and it's an important pursuit. Then I'm not okay with just earning money. I want some status, or as they say in the US, status. I want some prestige. I want to feel like I'm contributing, and I want a good team, etc. And of course, I want to be able to provide for the family. Kama, the pursuit of pleasure. How can I just have toast for breakfast every day? I mean, come on, there has to be some variety. Kama, pursuit of pleasure. Okay, again, a very valid pursuit. Then, in addition to this, is the whole framework of karma. So it's not enough for me to earn money and enjoy relationships. I also want to make a contribution. I also want to know that I matter, my presence matters. And therefore, I want to reach out. I want to do the right thing. I want to also secure a place in Swarga. You know, some of us may not want only life insurance, we want lifetime insurance. So this life insurance, I will take care of this lifetime. But wherever I go next, I want to ensure it's a good place where there's a lot of fun, dance, music. Swarga fits the bill. So I want enough punya to be able to get there. Now, what is unique about all these three pursuits is that Dharma, Artha, Kama give me what I do not have, what we refer to as apraptasya praptihi. I don't have it, it is aprapta for me. I want it because I don't have it. Okay. So this is what applies to the three pursuits. Then there is another pursuit, which is a pursuit of moksha, which literally means freedom. Okay. The next question is freedom from what? Freedom from a sense of bondage. It's a sense, it's not real. But I don't feel bound. You know, we live in a free country. But you know how you place limitations on yourself? I cannot do this. I cannot learn Sanskrit. There are some I cannot, which may be factually real, but a lot of I cannot. I want to, but I cannot, are limitations we place on ourselves. It's a sense. It's not real. It can be changed. So I suffer from sorrow. I suffer from inadequacy because of this secret thinking that I am not enough. All of us have it. Okay. From childhood onwards, we have it. And it just takes our parents to say, look at what your brother is doing or your sister is doing. They're doing so well. Or look at your friend. Can you not draw as well as that person or something like that? So this constant comparison, some of them do it. Some of it is internalized by us. And we always feel we are not enough. And we may go for therapy also. And be in therapy for 20, 30 years. I've never understood why therapy has to take so long. You know, if you have great friends and you have healed from some of the trauma, friendships are enough. But the system is such, we have outsourced what were functions of friendships, marriage, and so on to professionals. So that's another matter. I am not enough is a pervasive feeling we have because we have taken this body mind to be myself. I have taken this body mind to be absolutely real. Of course, there's no other reality. And therefore, I suffer from inadequacy. Vedanta, the pursuit, or what we call as the moksha pursuit, is a pursuit which is a little bit like this. Where are my spectacles? I keep it someplace and then I don't know where it's gone. Why does this happen to me? And you know what Vedanta will say? Vedanta will say, the specs were always with you. So the nature of the pursuit is praptasya praptihi, which means that you were always already free. You are the limitless being, but you identify with this medium, body, mind, and therefore you suffer bondage. You want to break free. That's why the song became so popular. You know, I want to break free, Queen. Of course, very catchy, very well composed song, but everyone resonates with it. I want to break free. I want to break free from this body and whatever else that comes along with my life. The truth is, I am already free. And that pursuit is a very unique pursuit because you already are free. And Vedanta helps you discover that you are always free. So you are not going to gain something that you are not. You are only going to take away what you are not. In the sense, if anyone has seen or knows of how a sculpture is made. So let's say the sculptor is making a murti of Ganapati, then what the sculptor does is has a slab of stone, granite generally, or maybe marble also, and sculpts away with the scalpel, the hammer, all that is not Ganapati. Okay, so whatever be the head, whatever is not Ganapati, you know, bang, bang, and then chisel, all of that, what is not Ganapati, so that when that is taken away, then Ganapati who is there in the stone is revealed. So through this course and pretty much to the study of Vedanta, which is a body of knowledge found at the end of the Veda, therefore called Vedanta, Vedasya Antaha. So at the end of this Veda, which has like 20,000 verses, each of the Vedas, is a very sacred pursuit because it rests on the understanding that I've been there, done that, earned decent amount of money, have enough pleasure, ticked all the boxes, okay, worn the t-shirt, been there, done that, taken the selfie, posted it on social media, still my heart is empty. Is that all that there is to life? Because when you go for somebody's funeral, it hits you. I could be there. It could have happened to me. All my achievements, all my relationships, all my acquisitions, all my possessions, all my certificates, everything ends with my death. Correct? It's a truth. And so is the end of life death? Seemingly yes, but Vedanta says no. That birth and death are events that happen to the body and mind. You are much more than the body and mind. And so there are two processes that take place when one studies Vedanta or does the sadhana of Vedanta. And that is, one is self-mastery, which are the values, orientations, attitudes that are required to live a life of harmony. So a little bit of the course in the initial classes, we will focus on that. And the second part is self-discovery, which is the discovery of the reality that you are. So now let's inquire into this happiness. Okay. For a lot of us, happiness is an emotion that comes and goes, right? So just like, when it was said for Superman, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Superman. So like that, is happiness an object? Like, the ones who said, okay, well, world is at peace, or health. Can it be perceived? See, an object requires dimensions. It requires you for sense data, interaction with sense data. So is happiness an object that you can taste, smell, see, feel, hear? No. You can't go to the supermarket and say, can I have 1 unit of happiness, please? Well, actually make it 2. The salesperson will look at you strangely, but may say, oh, is happiness a new brand or something? So even if you brand something as happiness, okay, there is no object called happiness. Okay, that's point 1. Then the question is happiness, ananda, a quality of an object? Like we may describe a tall tree, or, suppose you're buying a bar of dark chocolate. So you're looking at the ingredients. Okay, cocoa butter, solids, preservatives, okay, no trans fats. Then, in the ingredients, is happiness mentioned? No, it's not an ingredient. It's not a quality of an object. If it was, it would be subject to change. And yet we see people smiling, laughing. So there is no quality called happiness that is centered on an object. Then the question is happiness a place? The moment you go there, you're happy. So of course we, psychologically, we will help people discover what is their happy space, right? So it could be the couch in your living room. It could be in the arms of a loved one. It could be in nature. It could be while you're listening to music. So again, this will become an activity. Or you say, only when I'm at home, I'm happy, or when I'm sitting in my cubicle, I'm happy. So you could associate happiness with a place. But if that was true, then the moment you go to that place for your whole life, you will be happy, right? People living in Hawaii will not want to move to New York. People living in New York will not want to go for vacation to Europe, but we see that happening all the time. So happiness is not even a place. Then is happiness a particular time? Clubs and bars, don't ask me how I know. Clubs and bars have what are called happy hours, right? So to encourage more people to come in, discounts are offered. And as a result of which, they want the person to drink more. So then once you bump into a friend, and that friend was just sauntering out of a club, and you see the friend with a fresh scar on the face, you ask what happened? Say, oh, I just got into a scuffle and pushed to the corner, and that's how it happened. But right now is happy hour. Yes, it is. But, it wasn't so happy for this person. So happy hour is very happy for the owner, not for the others who have to shell out money. And if you have an astrological bent of mind, you may consider certain times during the day, like, okay, Vijay Muhurta, Ravi Yoga, Abhijit Muhurta, maybe is an auspicious time to try out new initiatives. But again, happiness is not a particular time. Then the question is happiness a particular action? Like, let's say, hugging a person. Now, some people enjoy being hugged, some people don't. And some people will say, no, I can do side hugs, but I don't want to do like a full-on hug. So a lot of specificities are there, And even if you hug a person, you cannot hug a person for eternity. So the same action for in doses is okay, not forever. Then the question is happiness a person? So, of course, in the presence of someone, you say, oh, I love you, I feel so happy in your presence and all of that. But often in our own experience, we see, I love you becomes, I allow you to go your way, you go your way, I go my way, right? So now if happiness is not a person, it's not an action, it's not a quality, it's not an object, it's not a place even, then but still we experience happiness. How is that? Oh, you know why? Because happiness is you. That's why. It's not in you. In you as in, it's not in the liver, it's not in the kidneys, it's not in the lungs, it's not even in the mind. Happiness, which is ananta, which is the sense of having no boundaries, no limits, being in harmony with everything. It is your intrinsic nature. Okay, intrinsic nature meaning it cannot change. Incidental is it depends on an incident. Intrinsic nature, your swarupa is ananda. But then how, if I am ananda, if I am happiness, then why I experience sadness? A good question. I experience it because I think that whatever happens in the mind is happening to me. That just like the sun shines, but does not define itself by the clouds, which are changing, which are moving, I has to be discovered as Ananda. And as the sun shines, it shines a light on all kinds of thoughts, all kinds of clouds, some memories, sometimes sadness, sometimes disgust, sometimes irritation, sometimes some learning, sometimes some connections, right? So all of that, the sun shines on these different clouds, right? So now, when I see something beautiful, I am happy. So this is the Upanishadic inquiry, right? And for an inquiry, I need a mind that is mastered. So, you know, the way Vedanta works is that we first listen in to the whole teaching and we keep aside whatever association is happening for us. And only towards the end of the class, we ask questions. Okay. This is the nature of Vedanta learning. It's different from a discussion group, which also is there, but a discussion can only happen about something that you have learned, which you are relating to your life experiences. Okay. So for the sake of Vedanta learning, traditionally at least, we allow ourselves to listen, to see the words first. Now, in the experience of happiness, there is me, the subject, the one who is seeking happiness, maybe seeking validation, acceptance, and there is the object. And the object could be different. But when the subject and object meet, so when I am in nature or when I'm watching the sky, I don't want the sky to be different. I'm not saying, you know what, a little purple would be nice. Maybe a little orange also. I think that's what the sky should do. No. The one who was wanting, who was feeling horrible, is just arrested by a beautiful sight. The subject and object meaning whatever I'm interacting with, there is a fusion. And in that moment, the Ananda that I am manifests. And this can happen for all of us. It does happen when the object does not cause us friction. So if I learn to be in harmony with everyone, then there will be few people who will be pressing my buttons. And this understanding of the Atma is done through a very systematic pursuit in Vedanta. So what I'm going to bring to the course is what we did in the Gurukulam, but in an online setting. So I just want to show you my screen. Okay. So first we will spend some time looking at what lies in our heart, the voice of Dharma. That I don't want to be hurt, you don't want to be hurt. I want to be accepted, you want to be accepted. This principle of reciprocity is something we have not learned in a university. We have been born with this. So if my doll falls down and let's say I'm 2 years old, you'll see the child wiping the tears from the doll's cheeks. And the child already knows empathy, has not gone for some counseling course. So the child knows that when I fall, I get hurt, doll falls, got hurt, must be crying, I will wipe away the tears. This empathy, these subsets of Dharma are natural to all of us. And empathy, justice, compassion, generosity. If we look at all the people that we admire, what we admire about them is a particular quality that we see in abundance in that person. In other words, you may admire the person, but what you're really admiring is a subset of Dharma, because Dharma makes us happy. And so we look at the framework of Dharma, which helps us to be in harmony with our world, such that I can have the pursuit of artha, the pursuit of wealth, the pursuit of pleasure, the pursuit of reaching out. And when it is done in a meaningful way, then it brings a lot of happiness to me. And I'm able to also see how I can contribute to happiness for the others, whoever that other is, right? So when I act in line with Dharma, when I persevere in something, or when I am generous, when I am appreciative of another, in other words, when I'm practicing Dharma, I contribute to the other person's happiness. And likewise, when somebody practices Dharma, they contribute to my happiness as well. And then we will want to look at something very simple, which is how do I live my day? Because there are a lot of simple things that we all do, which contribute to our relative happiness. And then there are things that take away from it. So we might want to do some tweaks over there, looking at Dinacharya. Sometimes we underestimate the power of simplicity. How can I simplify my life? Because, you can't be happy with a cluttered life. If you have too many things packed in and you're always complaining, you're so busy, you don't have the time, etc., then there is a need to review. Then the Dharma framework is such that we recognize our critical relationships. So at all times, I am related to my ancestors, Pitras. In recent times in the United States, when people have conferences that I've attended online, people say, I am speaking from the land of the Dakotas, or, referring to some tribes that have lived there. and the genes that we have inherited, okay? So it could be the GEANS or GENES. It's all thanks to my ancestors, of course, starting with my parents onwards, all the way generations. And we recognize their blessings are important for our lives. And so on a daily basis, what can I do to acknowledge and make an offering to my ancestors? It could be a simple prayer, and then during the year, we do certain special rituals depending on the culture we belong to. Then, of course, the other set of relationships are with the environment, bhutaha. So life feeds on life, plants, animals. I mean, just the fact of eating and surviving and so on, all depends on the environment, plants, animals, air, water, fire. And so it is a part of one's dharma to make an offering, to consume least and contribute the most. So it doesn't only start and stop with you taking care of your dog. Okay, this has to extend to other plants and animals also. There is, I think I've repeated one. This Pitra Yajna should be Deva Yajna actually. So in the Dharmic framework, we recognize that our processes of respiration, digestion, assimilation, all laws of nature are being governed by different devatas like heads of departments. And sometimes we don't even acknowledge who's in the room. Devatas are very much present. And so we acknowledge and make offerings to devatas through pujas, japa, you chant a mantra, worship, you go on pilgrimage and so on. And the fourth type of relationship, of course, I'm, beyond your family and your loved ones and your work colleagues, the general neighborhood, society, community. And here are a lot of vendors that we don't know, from the farmers to the grocer to the delivery boys to the security people to all the people who have innovated and created so many products that we use. So there is a beautiful web of interdependence, and we do what we can for people around us. And finally, Brahma Yajna, or our gurus, our acharyas, our teachers, that we recognize that we have a rinam, a sacred debt, that a lot of what we have received is thanks to them, and therefore we honor them, we do what we can to preserve the Vedic culture. So you can see, when you live a life like this, where you do what you can, but you acknowledge all these relationships in your life and you make some sort of contribution, which could be even a prayer or doing something, you will always feel connected. And this has nothing to do with the strength of the Wi-Fi. You are always connected. Then there's the scope for you to feel depressed and wallow in misery doesn't really arise. And, when we talk about Vedanta, it's helpful to just have an expanse of what is the glory that is the Shastra. So what we are going to be doing is just one tiny bit here, okay? But I will talk in greater detail about this chart in the course. But for now, each of these is a very big body of knowledge. And they have different purposes. And sometimes it may be that, if I have learned one Purana, I will think that everyone should learn. But the point is that Vedanta is for the one who understands that the problem of the human being is not a psychological problem. On the face of it, it appears psychological, but actually it is a spiritual problem, a problem of ignorance, of not knowing who I really am, taking what this body mind is to be real, and then struggling with it, and seeing that the limitations of this body mind are equally real. So when we use the term Vedanta, we are talking about Prasthanatrayi, so the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras. Upanishad is the end portion of the Veda, also known as Vedanta, and Prakarana Granthas, which are like texts that elaborate on certain topics. So in this course, we're going to be using a good chunk of Tattva Bodha, which is very foundational for Vedanta, where a lot of terms that we think we understand are explained in great detail. And by understanding the terms, the difference it makes to our lives is phenomenal. So I think that's all. I won't say more about this chart. The approach to a course, although we are studying in a university, because it's Vedanta, the approach is that it is a sadhana. Okay, sadhana, the word is a means. It's a means towards a goal or an end. And here the sadhana is twofold. One is listening to the teacher, okay, and the other is working on oneself with gentleness and firmness. So yeah, this of course is a picture of beautiful illustration of Adi Shankaracharya, his disciples, to indicate that just as Jnana Ganga flows, the teaching of Vedanta has been flowing in the tradition through the Guru Shishya Parampara. And the elements of studying in a Gurukulam, one can try to bring it to an online course, which is what I'm going to attempt. And I have been teaching for many years now, and it works very nicely. So, terms like these will be explained: Atma, Moksha, Ishvara, Maya, Karma, etc. And the most important sadhana in Vedanta is being able to listen. And if that's difficult, then read. Okay. Now, when we listen, we react. We are reminded of different things. And the sadhana is to just listen, to relax so much and still be alert that whatever the Guru says, it creates a corresponding thought in your mind such that you are tuned to the frequency of the teaching and of the rishis. So some of the important prakriyas, methodologies we will look at, which is that Atma is distinct from the body. Atma is the word for I, okay? I, or rather you, but I. So I am other than the five mistakes that I make regarding who I am. I am the one who is in and through all states of experience. And the Swarupa of Atma being Satchidananda. So the teaching is that of the Jiva being equal to Ishvara. Jiva, the individual. Ishvara is Bhagavan, okay, the total. And so some of the things I will encourage you all to do in the course is, because it's going to be a 3-month sadhana. So of course we'll have the classes. In addition to that, I will encourage you to have a japa practice if you don't. There is great blessing when you chant a mantra, because it's like the person is available to you, the being. Like suppose if I say, Sophia, Sophia, or I say Ankur, Ankur, because you say, let's say I say Om Namah Shivaya. So my namaskaram to Shiva. But when I'm repeating the name of the deity is fully present for me to bless me. So there is a lot that clearing that happens when you do mantra practice. and a lot of other things, okay, which we will get into. I will also encourage y'all to have, if y'all don't, that is, some regular exercise. Preferable if you're able to do some asanas. If you're not, that's okay. Everybody will be doing different things, and also some pranayama, because there needs to be a little balance in the body and mind, which can come through, of course, any other activity as well. It need not be only asana pranayama of yoga, but that will become very important for us to ensure that we can sit through a class. Okay, I will also conduct some guided meditations. Of course, there are many types. As we speak, I'm just going to conclude one of the courses that I did called Dhyana, meditation of the meditator. So meditation being a mental activity that helps you dwell on Bhagavan. And of course, we can go all the way to you dwelling, recognizing the truth of who you are. This, of course, becomes difficult in an online setting, but maybe we can teach people to do simple puja, panchopachara puja, which takes 5-6 minutes, and people can take turns to do puja as well, while understanding the beautiful symbolism of doing a puja, that we make 5-fold offerings of the Pancha Mahabhutas unto the one from whom the space, water, air, fire, Prithvi has come. It's a very beautiful offering. And we will also additionally have a Slack channel, plus, of course, Google Group, so that we have a lot of discussion in the course to clarify one's own understanding and to learn from each other. And I'm guessing that you all have already looked through the course objectives. So we will look at ourselves with a new mirror called the mirror of Vedanta. And we will also be more in harmony with people as we develop a closer relationship with Bhagwan. Additionally, we will understand how Vedanta works. And most importantly, we will see how happiness is one's own intrinsic nature. And it's not so much about feeling happy, but it's about seeing that I was always free, and that will only come in the light of knowing who I really am. And therefore, self-knowledge becomes the solution to the problem of self-ignorance. So I invite you all to the course. And I think this is a good time for me to take any questions. Yeah, okay.
Great. Swamini ji, always amazing elaboration and the way the different examples you bring in. If you don't get all of the examples, you didn't hear the song, it doesn't apply to you. It's the broader context that Swamini ji does a great job of actually connecting to the bigger purpose. So Vaibhav ji has the first question, and we'll get through, I think, as many as we can. He's asking, this is a big one, what is the difference between Bhagwan and us?
Yeah, so from the this is something that Hanuman was asked, who are you? And he said, from the standpoint of the body, I am your dasa, I am your servant. He's referring to Sri Rama. So deha buddhya dasoham, from the standpoint of the body, I am your servant. Then from the standpoint of the truth, I am you. Okay, so the difference between Bhagwan and us, if we are looking at the form, then I am an individual and Bhagwan is the total. Bhagavan, the word, has a definition, the one who has bhaga. So bhaga are all virtues, and there are 6 of them. So the one who has all knowledge, which is jnanam, the one who has vairagya, objectivity, all vairagya in full measure, the one who has all wealth, all resources. So virya, shrihi, virya, the one who has all the powers. Imagine this, everything is orbiting. The earth is moving at a phenomenal speed and it's all held in orbit. There are no pillars supporting the earth and all the planets. So what holds, I mean, the sheer power of this creation, virya, yashaha, all fame. And there is another sixth one. So the one who has all of this in limitless measure is Bhagwan. I have all of this when I'm talking about the form in small measure. All of us have knowledge, all of us have wealth, all of us have resources, all of us have power, all of us have fame, etc., etc. And so until I connect with Bhagwan, I will always feel lost. Right? So whatever I have is given to me. That is our starting point of Vedanta. That I cannot claim anything that I have to be independently mine. I have not created it. You say, no, I worked very hard. Yeah, sure you did. But the capacity to work hard, where did that come from? Oh, but I digest, I breathe, I do pranayama. Yeah, but the laws of nature that make prana move from here to there, who made that? Did you? No. So I and Bhagwan are seemingly different, but through the study of Vedanta, we are able to see that I, the individual, is pervaded by Bhagwan, and in time, I will be able to see that I and Bhagwan are one.
Great. Thank you for that. Again, a big question, but a very beautiful answer. Sophia has kind of two questions in the Q&A box. One is, of course, non-believers in God can attend a course, and whatever your belief system, we're inclusive and open, and it's just a way to engage and learn. And we encourage different perspectives and beliefs to enroll in courses. And her other question is, what are the topics covered by the sadhana pravacham?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing more of Tattva Bodha, not sadhana pravacham. So I don't know whether you are referring to Sadhana Panchakam, which is a separate Vedanta text. But I don't think that name was written on the slides. Yeah.
Okay. David is asking, this is always a good question. How does one meet and select a guru as a beginner to Vedanta?
Yeah, so you have to try a guru for size in the sense that, you can do some guru shopping in the sense that see whom you resonate with and try to see, so 2-3 things, right? One is whether the person belongs to a lineage and whether the person claims that I have discovered the truth, or the person teaches what is coming down to the person through the blessing of the tradition. And a third is, can you have a one-to-one with the person? Because if it comes to just teachings, there are enough and more YouTube videos, right? But a lot of us can misunderstand what is being taught. Like, an alcoholic who will say, why I drink? Because the worms in my stomach die. And and the person would have said, he would have heard, okay, that maybe you can drink once a week. And the person will say, the alcoholic will say, actually, you have no idea how much, I have tapeworms and, I have eat all kinds of things, all things that creepy crawlies. So I think I should drink every day, that's good for me. So you know what I'm saying? That what the guru says is as important as what you understand. And therefore, having a one-to-one with the guru is very, very important. It's integral to the tradition, just to know that you're on the right track. So if all these points are there, then you can try and then take it forward. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Great. And it comes up often, right? That I like that try a guru on precise and what you hear and how you interpret and how it applies to you. So important. Dinikaji, I don't know if you took the Dhyanam, what is it, Dhyana meditation course already, or maybe you didn't, but what is the difference between maybe that course and this course? And let me drop a link to the course in the chat now with the details. It's going to be on Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern to 11:30, starting July 9th. So it's coming up soon. And everyone will get a recording of this webinar in email afterwards. So if you want to go into the
Dhyana meditation course, I focused on changing our relationship with the mind. It's a different course. I taught more than 6 types of meditations. And just towards the end of the course, I taught a little bit of Vedanta through this very important, very beautiful stotram called Nirvana Shatakam. So, the verses of Shivoham, Shivoham, perhaps you all have heard it. It's a very beautiful stotram. So even the image of the course had Shiva on it. So through meditation, we learn to change our relationship with the mind, in addition to a lot of other things. And whereas this course, self-knowledge and the quest for happiness, is a more classical Vedanta course compared to the other courses I have done with HUA. Yeah.
Okay, great. With that, let me launch the poll. Just let us know if you're interested in this course. Definitely, yes, but you have questions, maybe not this quarter or another course with Swamini Ji you want to take maybe later. No, you're too busy this time. You, whatever it is, forever. It helps us follow up and stay on point. So please fill that poll out. Thank you everyone for joining us so far. We still got a few questions in the queue. Arthur is asking, does one who realizes Brahman, the Bivom, I'm not sure if that's the right word, omniscient and omnipotent, and not, does that have some separation? It's not totally typed in correctly, but
yeah, see, I'm not sure about the second part of the question, but you need a medium to be all-knowing. So the mind, as glorious as it is limited. And so one cannot become all-knowing. But the mind is glorious enough for us to recognize that I am limitless. And that's enough for us.
Sophia's next question, Swaminiji, do you know how the Vishishtvaita and Dvaita make relationships between the concept of Atma and that of Brahma?
This would require a very elaborate explanation, so I will have to skip this. But yeah, of course.
Okay. Maybe we'll have a separate webinar perhaps where we're getting into some of these other questions. So the evaluation of the course, how is the course evaluated, and what is maybe week by week, it's going to be on the learning management system. You're going to have readings, links to the courses will be there. We'll have I think a course discussion, class discussion, all those sorts of things to give you that feeling of being in a course. Even though it's online, you do engage with a whole cohort, hopefully, of wonderful people who are also active in engaging in this.
Yeah, more than evaluation, I encourage reflection. And so even the evaluation has the flavor of reflection on how is your life changing in the light of teachings, and how do you see yourself and your life differently, again, in the light of teachings. Yeah.
Okay. Darshanaji, I've got the details of the class in the chat. It starts on July 9th. So just still got a little few weeks before it starts. The timings are there as well, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern. Which translations of the Tattva Bodha would you recommend, and which ones are you using?
Yeah, I would recommend people to get a copy by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. So that would be mentioned on the LMS in terms of where it can be purchased within the United States. Yeah.
Great. Beanie is asking kind of a general question, but a good one. How to become a good listener and stop the challenge questions when one is listening from a guru?
Well, if one wants to be a good listener, I think that is the moot question, right? Sometimes we have a lot of pressure to talk. We have a lot of pressure to express ourselves. And sometimes it helps, that you get off whatever is there on your chest, then maybe you are ready to listen. But if one is interested in knowledge, then I think listening comes along with the territory. The gaps may increase. Initially, I could maybe listen only for 2 minutes. Then, as you're open to the wisdom and you delight in it, then you quieten down, and the duration of listening increases. So it's a growing process. Yeah.
Okay, I typed into the chat, Sophia, for the question, so you have that. Great. Beanie's asking next, how does one select a mantra?
The guru selects a mantra for you. You never select a mantra for yourself. It's not one of those things you buy off the shelf, So here, but still, so some of the things that a guru will keep in mind before giving you a mantra will be whom you relate to, which devata you relate to more, because then it becomes very easy to, glide into a mantra that of that particular deity. The second question the guru might ask is, which devata is your family worshipping, like your kula devata. So again, there is a flow of blessing from the family deity, and it's always nice to build on that. The third might be, some gurus could look at your astrological chart and also see whom you have worshipped in your previous lifetime, or whose blessings have been available for you, and accordingly select a mantra. The fourth may be that depending on the phase that one is going through, if it's a challenging phase astrologically, then the guru might give you a mantra to tide you over that phase. So it could be a combination of any of this, by which the guru will select a mantra for you. Yeah.
Okay. And so this course will be available in the continuing education program. I think it does apply to the certificate program in Hindu studies that HUA has launched, right? Building a strong Hindu foundation for clarity and confidence. And so if you have taken multiple courses with HUA, you should consider enrolling in the certificate program in Hindu studies. If you haven't taken anything yet, this would be a great course to get into. And of course, we have a whole range of courses, and Swamini ji is amazing teaching different courses quarter by quarter, what people are interested in, and pivoting and sharing her knowledge and wisdom. It's just been a beautiful experience. Swamini ji, I think that takes us to the end of the webinar. If you have some closing thoughts.
Well, I will just close with a prayer, and I hope to see most of the people who are here in the course. It's going to be a lot of fun as we learn. And the prayer is that we allow ourselves to feel love for the other. So sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, which means that, may there be love in my heart, or the love in my heart, let that extend to all beings. May there not be sorrow for anyone. May people not have difficulties due to illness and so on. So prayer is very powerful. It's a karma. It gives results in addition to whatever else that one is doing. So I invite all of you all to join me in this prayer as we allow ourselves to experience love for others, including ourselves. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Duk Abhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you, everyone.
धन्यवाद.